On the agenda tonight, we're going back to the late 1950s. We're going to be taking a look at Bobby Darin, and he's going to be performing Dream Lover. Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus, and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So we have had a look at Bobby before, probably a few years ago now, but we're going to be taking a look at Dream Lover, jumping into it, see what we can see. We'll probably bust out the guitar as well, but I'll come to that later in the video. Let's get into the performance and see how Bobby gets on.
Bobby's new hit record. Bobby?
Girl, to call my own. I wanna dream lover, so I don't have to dream alone. Dream lover, where are you? With a love oh so true, and the hand that I can hold, feeling it as I grow old. 'Cause I want girl to call my own. I wanna dream lover, so I don't have to dream alone. Someday, I don't know how, I hope she'll hear my plea. Some way, I don't know how, she'll bring her love to me. Dream lover, until then, I'll go to sleep and dream again. That's the only thing to do, till all my lovers' dreams come true. 'Cause I want girl to call my own. I wanna dream lover, so I don't have to dream alone. I'm begging not to make me dream alone. No, no, you know I won't dream alone. Oh.
Young Bobby Darin does it again. Come out here, check it out. He is fine, isn't he?
And there we have it. So a short video for tonight, just over 2 minutes in length. But this performance is all about subtlety and just the way that Bobby is so slick throughout the performance. And obviously vocally, he's just so relaxed with the delivery, but just spot on all the time, as we know from the analysis video that we've done previously on Bobby, focusing in on his vocals. But when I talk about subtlety and the art of performing, it's something that Bobby does so naturally. And when we go back to the beginning of the video, I mean, you'll see that even starting out, he's kind of clicking out the rhythm. So he's kind of going, or he's going. So he's kind of already getting into it. Not that we can hear necessarily what he's doing there, but you can see that he's actually kind of getting into the groove and supplying that just with his hands, which is great. The thing to look out for, which is this deeper level of professionalism and performance, putting on a show, even though he's not, running around the stage here, he's doing so much just with the movements of his bodies, the little kind of shoulder shrugs that he does in time with the music. But when we watch it again, look at the focus that Bobby has on the camera. And this is what's impressive, is that he's looking for the light on the camera. Generally, what you'd have in a studio is the camera that is live has a light on it, usually a red light that comes on so that the presenters know where to look. So, and you might have seen this on the news sometimes where the presenter's looking at the wrong one, but then has to go across because they realize, oh, I'm looking at the wrong camera. But Bobby is so smooth here with his transitions between cameras. And it's not something that you learn to do when you're learning to sing, learning to perform. getting on TV is a totally different thing to then playing in front of a live audience, because with a live audience, you can look at lots of different people's faces and you don't have to be focused in a particular place. And you might even find that with some performers, when they're performing on TV, they're not even really taking in the camera at all. They're just performing, and the camera's just, not even an afterthought. It's just not a thought at all. Whereas here, Bobby's absolutely focused on not only giving the performance to the audience, but making sure that everyone watching on TV is connecting with him and he's connecting with them. So when we watch it again, just have in your mind that the camera is changing, and look how smoothly Bobby moves from one to the next.
Every night I hope and pray, sweet love will come my way. A girl of hope
And see how he engages the camera and now is engaging the audience.
in my arms, know the magic of her charms, 'cause I want a girl to call my own. I wanna dream of her, so I don't have to dream alone. Dream lover, where are you?
And look at that really subtle, smooth movement once he knows that the light's gone off on that camera. And the other thing that he would be doing, not that he's doing it, is wondering which camera we're going to, because we've got the long shot, we've got the closer shot that we just had, and now we've got a shot off to the side. I believe there's going to be a fourth camera off to the other side. So it's trying to sing, obviously sing the song well, perform it well, but have an eye on the overall performance, that he's thinking about all of this while he's singing. So yeah, it's such a deeper level of kind of professional performance that might fly under the radar unless you know what to look for, because you can just appreciate the performance, but then actually what goes into it technically, and it's really interesting to think of all of these adjustments that he's making live that are part of the performance, or part of the show, rather than the performance of the vocal and keeping it as accurate as he does.
With a love oh so true, and the hand that I can hold, feeling it as I grow.
And just quickly, what is this person doing in the background here? They just come into shot, and I noticed this when we watched it the first time through. I thought, who has allowed somebody to walk in the shot? Maybe because this is quite a wide shot, they don't realise they are in shot, but they just walk in. You think, when somebody's performing, stay off the stage, stay well away from being in shot. But anyway.
'Cause I want girl to call my own. I wanna dream lover, so I don't have to dream alone. Someday.
That is what I'm talking about. That is so slick, because when Bobby spins, the camera changes. So he's looking at one camera, he does his little bit of choreography, and when he goes back to that camera, he sees that it's not on anymore, and look how smoothly he changes from going back to that original camera to now smoothly going off to the other one that's now right over the other side. It's just a little look at the one he was looking at and now back with the audience, with everybody at home.
Someday, I don't know how. I hope she'll hear my plea.
Just these breaks away to engage the audience that's there. It's an ability in itself. It's an art form in itself to do this, to engage everybody, not just people there, the recording of the show, but people watching on TV. And that's what the great artists can do and do in general when they connect to the people through the TV screen. Obviously, you're connecting to potentially millions of people. So if you can get that connection, then you're onto a winner, because people are going to support you. They're going to get that emotional connection to you en masse, rather than, maybe having 50 or 60 people in a recording studio. You're reaching a mass market here, and Bobby just has this confidence, and the great performers and the biggest artist of all time had this confidence, but a confidence to engage as well as perform.
Some way, I don't know how, she'll bring her love to me. Dream lover until then. sleep and dream again. That's the only thing to do till all my lovers' dreams come true. 'Cause I want girl to call my own.
And that was great because we've now gone to this shot on the left hand side. I know I'm talking about angles and shots, and we're not really getting into the music much at the moment, but we will do, and I'll grab the guitar. But this, because we've now gone to this camera that's on the extreme left, look how smoothly Bobby is looking for which camera is live. He starts out looking straight ahead. It's not that one. He has a quick look off to the left. Process of elimination. He knows it's not these two, so it's got to be over there. So the moment he's looking at the camera, that's now turned off. Looks off to the side, that one's turned off. And perfectly, just a little head shake in time. So yeah, I mean, it's great, but obviously you can appreciate the music, appreciate the performance, but it's just these tiny technical details of top level performers that you don't really take in when you're watching it.
To call my own. I wanna dream so I don't have to dream alone. Beg you not to make me dream alone.
And that one was really slick because when he spun before, I think he knew that the camera changed, so he was kind of ready for another camera to be live.
No, no, you know I won't dream alone. Oh.
And then again, right at the end, engaging the audience, standing straight on, open body language, and just doing a little bow at the end. I did actually read that Neil Sedaka played piano on this particular song. Trying to hear any piano is really difficult. It's certainly well hidden in the mix, but I mean, that might have been the case due to the singers that we've got going on. That's another thing about this song. We have this great call and response, but the backing vocals are going on throughout the whole song. So it means that you've got lots of voices that are going to be filling in that mid-frequency range, and that's where your piano's going to be for the most part, so it just might have got lost in the mix there. But yeah, having this constant backing vocal is great because it just works as effectively another instrument that's going to really fill out the sound. But when we're talking about instruments, I've got the guitar out because in this live performance, it's actually really technical what's going on with the guitar playing, even though if you don't play guitar, you won't necessarily appreciate it. And this live performance is even more complicated than the original record. So they're not just playing a backing track here, or they're not playing the studio version of the song. Whether they recorded another version for live performances, I don't know. But in this particular performance, and I'm saying that this is live, it certainly sounds live instrumentally and vocally with the backing singers as well. You've got so much going on. So I think the original record was recorded maybe a semitone higher, and we had this kind of on the guitar, kind of alternate picking going on, whereas in this live performance we've actually kind of got a rake down across the strings, which would be, and it's like that. We've got, and it's all palm muted, so it's really subtle, so you get that kind of sound. I'm just going to load up the original release so that we can hear what's going on. Yeah, so it sounds like we've actually got kind of an octave above. So we've got, and it's all palm muted here to get that kind of sound. And yeah. So we've got a lot of kind of picks on that high E string. Same thing when we go down. Oh. Kind of like that. Now, I haven't kind of sat down and worked this all out, so it's just a rough guide. It's not an instructional video, as I always say. So going back to the live performance. mean, we can definitely hear a raking across the strings that is definitely palm muting. I mean, it's really subtle, but you can hear the notes. So it means that once we take it down a semitone, we're going to be most likely, okay. And here, I mean, it depends. Either it's really technical and we're going to have to roll across strings with our left hand, or it's got a capo on the 12th fret, so we can just play the chord shapes and palm mute the chord shapes. But I'm going to go with the really technical version because that's something that did happen quite a lot back in the 50s and the 60s. You just had top level session musicians who would just play stuff that would melt your face, but they'd do things like this that were really technical, that sounded easy, but then when you picked up a guitar and tried to play it, you'd realise, hang on, how are we going to get this? So we've got this little roll down, and it's that kind of thing. So, and it's all really muted, so we got, it's that kind of thing. It's really subtle. But then we go into what would be effectively like an A minor shape, but we're rolling with the third finger like that. So we're getting single notes on those first three like that. So, I mean, obviously, if you don't play guitar, you probably can't appreciate how difficult it is to do that, to get clean notes while palm muting and rolling. Like here, I'm playing first finger, third finger, roll over. So you're kind of having to move your third finger so that you don't get that sound, or just the sound of the whole chord muted, and you kind of want to get that. But then again, doing that, you're still not timing the strings. You have to go ba 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 ba. So your downstroke on the right hand has to be controlled. Again, it's a totally different level of expertise and practice and mastery of the instrument to be able to control at that kind of level the right hand. Because doing a down strum, everyone can do that. It's quite easy. You don't have to worry about it. But going and slowing down and picking out notes muted, that precisely is really difficult. So yeah, when I was listening to this live performance, I just zeroed in on that guitar and thought, wow, what is going on here? Because if he doesn't have a capo on the 12th fret, there's some extreme technique going on here throughout the whole performance. Another thing that isn't actually in this live performance that is on the original record is the key change at the end. So we have a semitone key change. This is all in the same key, but it is a semitone lower than the studio version, and I'm wondering whether they recorded it at this level or in this key and then sped up the release, which is something that happened quite a lot, or maybe they just took it down a semitone and then didn't have that key change at the end of the song because it would have made it easier to sing the whole way through without the key change, considering that would have been therefore a tone higher, including the key change from that original when you compare it with this live performance. But anyway, doing a little bit of detective work, just watching the players in the background, and I believe we've got the arpeggios of the chords that I was demonstrating being played in the middle here as we let it run through the bridge.
Someday, I don't know how.
You can see that we've now moved down the guitar in order to get access to the different chord shapes, which means that having a capo on the 12th fret, you wouldn't be able to play all the chords down here. You wouldn't be able to move down at all. All you'd be able to do is go up and then get stuck at the 12th fret. So it's, confirms my theory that there was no cheating going, I say cheating, that there was no capo going on here, which would make it a lot easier to play these chord shapes. There's loads of technique of playing the chords and rolling the fingers over to get the arpeggios while palm muting. So yeah, playing this on guitar is just on a totally different level, but this is what I love about performances and songs back in the 50s and 60s. You just had players that were on a totally different level, but just did it like it was nothing. But it sounds so easy because it is so well executed, because there's such a level of technical proficiency that was just almost a given back in these days, that you had to, if you were an instrumentalist, you had to play your instrument, you had to be able to do it at the top level. And that's what loads of session musicians and players, I mean, more often than not, they sang at the same time as well, or provided backing vocals. So yeah, just massively impressive here on an instrumental level. But then on that deeper professional level, when you look at Bobby's appreciation of the cameras. So anyway, I mean, yeah, I'm not going to kind of go through all the chords. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, to be honest. We kind of got our C into the A minor, C, A minor, C, G, C, F, C, A minor, F, G, C. Kind of like that. But anyway, yeah, it's not an instructional video. I said I wouldn't go through the chords. I haven't been through all of them, but if you just want a basic vibe to busk this out, then yeah, if you follow those chords for the most part, you'll be fine. And then you just have to get the bridge in there as well. So anyway, thank you guys for requesting this video for tonight. I did say it's going to be a short one. Probably hasn't turned out to be a short one, as always, but I hope you have enjoyed it, and keep those suggestions and requests coming in the comment section below. As always, let me know what you guys think, and if you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Rock!